Yes, we today try to hear the answers about the implementation of judgments of the European Court of Human Rights by the Turkey as a state. So not about only the Turkish judiciary system, but Turkey as a state, including all the authorities, all the other authorities. Being honest, a lot of questions were left without answers. Yes, there were tough questions because we have, as a Council of Europe, we have a lot of questions to Turkey about the implementation of judgments, especially such a political sensitive judgments like in Kavala case or in Cyprus versus Turkey case. And I talked to my colleagues also, and I could say that that's a position of the majority of the committee, that the committee is unsatisfied with the position of the Turkey delegation and the position of the Turkey authorities about the implementation. They tried to change the issue of the discussion. We were not discussing whether these judgments are good or bad, motivated or non-motivated. We were discussing that there is a judgment of the European Court of Human Rights. That's a court judgment, the same judgment as any judgment of the Turkey National Court. And that judgment should be implemented. And some judgments are very concrete. For example, in the Kavala case, we have an immediate release, and it should be implemented. And the argument that, yes, the judgment was about his detention, no, that's not an argument. You have a decision of the European Court of Human Rights directly saying Kavala should be released. And Turkey as a country has a lot of possibilities because the Turkey representatives try to say we have some proceedings in judiciary. Yes, but you have an additional instruments. And especially in the decision of Kavala, the European Court of Human Rights said that if you have no legislation to implement this decision, you should create this legislation. And the question of my fellow colleague from Romania, Titus Corlotean, was directly, are you changing the legislation? Do you have this legislation? Are you going to change this legislation to implement the decision of the European Court? And the answer was, no, we are not going. There are a lot of proceedings and so, but this decision was made by the European Court of Human Rights 6 years ago. And that's absolutely unacceptable. And I think that the results of today's exchange of views will be reflected in the yearly report about the implementation. There will be a big part dedicated to Turkey and to the situation when the decisions are not implemented. Today, we receive no answer to that question. So that means that the Turkish representatives, that's not me, I'm not going to judge the situation. The Turkish representatives don't see the political will to implement these decisions because they have no answers. If you have the answer, you are giving it. If you have no will to implement, you are trying to exchange the angle, to change the angle of the discussion and to find some wordings and to say blah 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 and nothing. So that's why the committee, the Legal Affairs Committee, is thinks that these hearings were very important. We saw the situation, let's say, on the ground. We saw the situation, how the authorities look on the implementation of the judgments, and the situation is not so optimistic, I would say. I think that we as a Council of Europe should use all the possibilities, the official, unofficial, direct diplomacy, hidden diplomacy or shadow diplomacy, whatever, to find the solution of that. Because, you see, that's not only for the Council of Europe to implement that decision. I think that that's for the rule of law, that's for even for the situation in Turkey. The Turkey should show us that Turkey respects a rule of law even in the sensitive, very sensitive issues like this one. I understand the political motivation for the government not to implement the decision because it is sensitive, because it could influence the situation inside the country, and so on and so on and so on. But to show that Turkey is implementing the rule of law, that Turkey is using the rule of law, you should find the way how to deal with that. And what I want to stress is that the European Court of Human Rights, in his rulings, is addressing not the judiciary, it is addressing not the government, it is addressing not the president, it is addressing the member state as a whole. So you should find inside the country the balanced mechanisms which could be used for the implementation of the judgment. And I think you as a country, I mean Turkey as a country, the government of Turkey should find the political decision of that issue, because everybody understands that that's political today. And you should find it for the sake of your people.
Well, I think it was important I raised the Yeltsin-Kaya case and the thousands of other cases that have stemmed from it. And I essentially asked that you have these very, very simple uses of a messaging app, and that's leading to terrorist charges. And no, frankly, I wasn't satisfied with the answers I had. Apparently, there is talk of legislative changes. I don't know what those changes are. I don't know when the time frame for those are. But I think it's really important that we keep up the pressure so the Turkish government can see that there needs to be action on this issue.